Alright.
Red team, okay. Check this roll up. Everyone's going shutter. Let's see. That's fine. Demo is a little bit forward here. First thing, you want your scout playing on the rooftops for the mid-fight, shooting down, or like either shooting players on their bats so their soldier can't really jump across at all. Like, usually what enemy teams will do to counter a player you put on the roof is to have their engineer sit bats and shoot on with you. If it is just their soldier going bats, then your scout just rolls their soldier there. But before their soldier's in position to bomb, your scout is playing up here, shooting at their scout who's trying to deny your demo early, or shooting at their demo men. Or alternatively, you're just having your scout walk onto that side, like from your bats, but usually your scout just like gets on the roof immediately. Here, you see your scout roll out ramp, I think it was, or from shutter and just went toxic, and usually you just want them holding like hard forward from roof or jumping right into the enemy demo man, yeah. It's just like your demo lost a little bit of the initial spam battle. Here your demo man is a bit forward ahead of the rest of your team. You really need the rest of your combo to be forward supporting them here. You need to be pinching them on the ramp. Your soldier should be bombing into this.
Yeah, we're walking towards ramp. Like, we're really, really close to toxic and ramp right now.
Right, it's like if they have their sniper step on ramp, you just lose that instantly. Their sniper's hard posted around shutter right now, so it's not the biggest deal immediately, but they're probably going to re-peek it and start shooting at you. And you see here, your demoman is just kind of in alone. You start losing players to sniper, you won't really have that much to contest their sniper. Your heavy does get good damage, so they do back out. I'm gonna switch things real quick. There, now I have heavy health. But basically, demoman's just getting a bit baited there. It's also really good to have your soldier roll up bats and bomb them ramp while they're all sitting on the ramp there. If you're not bombing their ramp, you just need your soldier getting in behind, perhaps with your scout or something like that, if you want to be pushing on this side with your soldier. Otherwise, it's just like you really want your soldier rolling up bats and either insta-bomb their shutter to trade for demo men, or to kill him if he's called injured around shutter, or to bomb their ramp when they're all sitting ramp. And that is another reason why you not sit ramp. If you're sitting ramp partially, like half and half, their soldier just spawns in here and your entire combo dies. Real quick here, you should be contesting them when they're dropping down off the bats, making sure they force early on around here, and that they're going to be losing a lot of players when they're dropping down, like having your scout, engineer, maybe soldier on roof. I guess they're dead and spawning there, kind of, yeah, but you should typically have like at least one player roof. Or alternatively, if you're not able to just contest them when they're trying to drop down here around crates, then you should be having just your combo be swinging out forward, which is what you're kind of doing, but you do end up kind of getting forced, like, and having to flash multiple people in, whereas usually it's just like, you want to make sure that you are the first person to pick this corner here. If the enemy pyro is competent, like, and you're just holding back on ramp, then all they do is send their pyro in, and then your entire team gets stuck on this side, your entire Uber does nothing, and you lose the point every single time there. So it's like, basically you need to be meeting them more forward here, and just making them have to make hard decisions themselves, make them choose between who they're going to be flashing, and make it harder for them to secure space. You see your demo is just, like, your team is just having to flash everything at this point. Your demo is maybe dying for this. If not, you're flashing again, and you have no support, basically. So either be playing further back there and be preparing to back up because you don't have the players up to support it. Like, your flanks are not in position to contest from roof and to hold their ramp, so sniper can't be picking there. Your combo's holding forward, and you're trying to contest point while you're down your flank on roof, and while you're just generally out of position as a combo.
So we lost that, or we are going to lose this because we weren't in a forward hold to make them force early.
It doesn't have to necessarily be your combo. You just don't have players to support it. Yeah, and you're staying in for way too long here. Basically, you're having to flash an A-play, and you're basically just not accomplishing anything. It's like I'm assuming you're kind of just panicking, like, oh, we have to deny the point, we have to contest the point. And it's just like your team is going to suffer as a result because you don't have like a clear course of action or ability to really contest this at this point. If that makes sense, yeah? Like, you just don't have the resources in place. And yeah, your demo gets dropped. Their pyro isn't airblasting you in, which... Interesting. Their spy's going in. And your medic should be backed way further out at this point. you should be like using your heavy, and as a distraction you can keep airing him from the back here. You do go anyways. I guess like enemy team is doing questionable things as well. Yeah. But that's the most of it. Yeah, just you don't really have that much of a clear goal for the Uber fight there. You've already kind of lost it at that point, and there isn't really that much of a need to use there. It's not the biggest deal though, like your medic should be dying there. It doesn't end up happening, so you're not in the worst spot. Your team is peeking Shutter here. Their demoman isn't trapping off Shutter. In fact, their team is very split. It does seem like your demoman is kind of solo peeking this though. The rest of your team is back in the Shutter. And so it's just really easy for your demoman to solo die. The rest of your team is baiting your demoman there. You just need them to be more forward with you. Your flank can be bombing in their ramp, just making sure their medic dies here. It's really easy to just snatch their medic on Ashville, or they need to be going behind. Basically, you always want your flank supporting your combo in some way when your combo is trying to take a push on Ashville. It is really easy to do so, and the rewards are absolutely massive, because if your soldier lands 2 rockets anywhere on here, their medic and or sniper die every single time. Same with Shutter. And it's really important to just integrate your flank with your combo for Ashville plays. Your heavy's a bit out of position here. I'd say have your heavy be further back and crossfiring rather than just staying on the point directly if they have Uber in play there. It's just like, it's really easy for your heavy to be out of position and just to be murdered. Your entire team basically just needs to be on point super forward, and you need to be prepared to take that exchange, or you need to just be further back and have somebody go for something like a force, sack, so on and so forth, to just make sure the enemy team can't use onto you and get your players for free there. Because it's like you're having to use a reaction there, you're having to react is basically the idea, and that's something that I'm sort of seeing for the second time here. First was on ramp there. It's just like the enemy team is the one taking the initiative. They do kind of mess it up anyways, their resources aren't in place, but it could be a lot cleaner on your team's end, because you're just kind of like playing in positions that allow them to use into you, and you're having to split your attention on everything and like keep flashing or lose players. It's just like the enemy team has a goal with their play there, and you don't really have a goal besides, okay, they used into us, we have to use back. Now what? Yeah?
Yeah, that makes sense. I thought we were much further on point throughout that game, but it looks like we clearly weren't.
Yeah. Here, there needs to be like more people peeking this. Like, you should be contesting if your soldier is winning the game for you right now. You need to be contesting them around this when your soldier is pressuring them from above here, because what happens is, if your soldier is shooting them from above and getting so many kills there, and their sniper's not watching from one of these 2 angles, there's no reason for your combo not to peek this and just to wipe them, because they are looking to they're having to look above, and they aren't even doing that. And so if you look above, like if you walk from main at the same time, they lose everything there. It's a bit sloppier than it could be here, yeah, basically. Like, you're not punishing them correctly. It does look like your engineer, soldier, flank in general had the right idea, though, definitely. I will say something. You don't have to do this, but it can be really effective to have your combo be holding forward up here, have your pirate be watching like from the roof or so on the back of ramp, have your demo heavy be playing crates, have your soldier be either playing here or here, just and then have your spy be sitting on their ramp calling when their sniper's going ramp, or like if their sniper's peeking Shutter, so on and so forth. Your spy isn't really in a position to give calls on their sniper here, though. Like, their sniper just got to peek through Shutter. You always want your spy in a position where they can call out wherever their sniper's peeking, because if you're trying to remotely hold point or peek point, and their sniper's not being called there, and you don't have players in position to deal with the sniper, then you're just losing players, which is what happens here. You lose sniper, your team starts backing further up, all they have to do is jump into this one exact angle, and you are going to lose your medic at least half the time there. And it's like, you can be holding more forward here. It's a pretty good idea too, but more importantly, your spy really needs to just be calling where their sniper's peeking and when, and then your team needs to not be your team needs to be prepared for bombs if you're holding on ramp here, because it is so easy for the enemy team to do anything to bomb here. I'm assuming your team is maybe calling to sack for this. If not, there's no reason for your team to be losing more players here. You get the medic, it's good. Your heavy needs to be backing out at this point. He backs out, cool. Your sniper should not be peeking this. You are down so many players at this point. Be a bit more passive there. If their soldier bombs that you die there.
I forgot that we lost that. I forgot the whole team was dead. I thought they were still out there.
Right, so it's just like important to have that be called by your demo or whoever, that like the sack was successful or you lost the fight, and that you can't be having more people pick at this point, especially something like sniper pick class or flank member can be easy at tunnel vision, and it helps a lot to just have a call be made on what your team is doing. Or like what the status is, yeah? Here you're all peeking from bats, your soldier is trying to sack earlier, your flank is doing like God's work here, you're taking their productivity. Let's see. Now you're trying to pressure, your heavy's getting a bit baited there, the timing's a little bit off. Maybe have soldier get up on bats and bomb into them here because you're trying to contest them aggressively. Let's see, where's soldier? On your ramp, okay, like you're trying to... I don't think you really actively... Let's see, sniper died... I guess around ramp? Guess I didn't catch that. Yeah, it's fine to have your flank be peeking their ramp there when your sniper's peeking it. If your sniper wasn't peeking that, though, no reason for your flank to really be contesting that aggressively. Here, you don't get space early on, you lose players on the flank, you lose space overall, and what happens is you're staying in too long here, you're not really getting anything accomplished, and because you don't have flank with you on bats, all they have to do is walk up here, and your team dies every single time. I genuinely have no idea why they aren't walking at you, killing your medic there. Your medic should have died.
Yeah, we expected them to, because they blocked off under bats. So we were trying to escape through there, but we had to essentially not go there because they trapped it.
Well, what you do there is you just have...
Then it was a late death anyways,
we might have been fine there, but I was you ran out. I wasn't expecting
you
it.
need to like you need to have your power leader take it at the same time as your medic. If they have traps, have your power detonator it, or have somebody just sack for the traps to make sure they get out. Like, you are not living anyways. You're getting a delayed death, which is even worse if you're trying to sit under there.
Yeah,
if you commit further to the side, you die as well. You just have to commit to something and back your medic at that point, or else it's going to be even worse for your team.
Yeah, as soon as the rollers and the stickies were gone, I immediately beeline for it, but then the scalp lead hit me.
Right, so it's... Yeah, it just needs to happen early while you still have the players to support you getting out, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, flank's trying to peek this from ramp. Sniper gets a kill. You're trying to take corner now. Alright, alright. I do think you need to be securing more space here. It is just kind of asking for you to... Okay, their sniper's not playing ramp, whatever. Yeah, you just sort of get spaced out there. Like, your team is kind of forward, but you're not playing forward enough to, like, make the enemy team have to use for much. They're able to just wait for you to die around the point because you have so many things shooting them from different angles, basically. Yeah?
Yeah.
It's just, like, either wait for more people to be in position there, or just, commit further anyways to make sure something happens. And if something happens, it's better than the enemy team making something happen, if you're trying to commit to it in the first place. So it's just, like, I feel like there's a general lack of direction there, yeah. And then just a bit of, like, questionable timing when it comes to positioning fights and backing out of fights, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, like, you should just have your scout be more forward on roof support you early on, denying space. It's like you don't get much space early on, you get picked off around point while the rest of your team is behind on ramp. Again, it needs to be like a full committal, your team is getting nothing done. If any of your players are sitting back on ramp, you just need to go super forward, meet them early on, or you need to recognize that you're not winning the mid fight and back out. It's just like, the three strategies you can do, right? Entirely commit to them, aggressively peek. That's usually the best one. They're all on... You are forcing them to back out to ramp, which means all you need to do is have your demo and shoot here. Have your soldier bomb, and they lose the mid-fight every single time. Your sniper can just be sniping them from your ramp. You could be peeking it very passively from ramp and just working around your sniper there, having your flank maybe pressure across here as well. Or just make sure they're not, like... I'd say probably bats there, yeah. And maybe just jumping on roof, shooting him from above while your sniper's trying to peek this. Or you need, like, and just working around your sniper there, making sure you don't lose any players on the point itself, and just making it, like, an incredibly slow process for the enemy team to take it. And then once you, like, get a pick with your sniper or your spy, like, around their ramp or behind or in shutter, then you kind of, like, re-peek it, or just recognize, like, okay, we didn't get the positioning we needed early on, we kind of, like, half committed to something, like, half our players were here, half our players were here, we lose players, and now we need to back out before mech dies as well, and then we can go up on bats, go for a quick sack or something because it's Ashville, or work our sniper ramp while our combo drops down and contests with the Uber exchange, and just try to get, like, some early picks before they have to use and get positioning. Like, those are your main goals for the mid-fight, yeah?
Okay.
Basically just locking them out, or making sure you're not losing players because you're not committing to, like, being passive or aggressive. You just need people being on the same page. If anybody backs up to your ramp, it means whoever is on point is dying, whoever is not on point is getting locked out by their sniper. Once you lose players on point, their demo man as well, their soldier probably bombs for this, and you just literally get nothing done besides lose your medic like 80% of the time. It's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy where people are like, we need to protect medic and back out. If you're not fully backing out and you're just trying to take that fight still, it usually is what actually results in your medic dying there, yeah.
Playing ramp is just a creative way to commit suicide.
If you're trying to push, yes, basically. If you're holding, ramp is fantastic. If you're pushing, you are just getting locked out super hardcore. So it's like, it's an okay staging ground for the mid fight, but just make sure it isn't your mid fight unless you're specifically trying to take slow peaks here. Like, it's just, if you only have if you have some people on point, some people on ramp, it is a death trap there, yeah, basically. Here, they're just sacking in. They do lose their pyre for that. You're kind of down everything, though.
Even then, can you look at no memes or gag?
Sniper's peeking shutter. Your scouts try to take this.
Yeah.
You shouldn't really have any players taking fights here besides like your spy trying to go for something. They're not really getting anything done. The enemy team doesn't have flank presence, sorry, but it'll get a flanker in behind. Your bats is kind of empty here. You usually want at least one player bats. If that's a soldier there, they just shoot 2 rockets in. If your pyre's not turned, you lose your medic there. Your soldier tries to jump in to initiate, your team is in a position to support him, delay your soldier bomb there, have it be timed with your combo walking across point, or else now your soldier is in poor health and it's being delayed when you need to have them be in. Yeah, it's just the timing's off there. It's a good idea though, you get the point. You don't have anybody watching roof, so there's no way to prevent the soldier from getting in here. Your pyre isn't watching, isn't prepared to die because it's not being called. You need somebody roof, basically. Yeah. You do get some nice picks onto their bats, though. Your demo's playing forward. I'd honestly say the rest of your team, your heavies should be peeking this, or now you're just losing players for basically nothing because you're trying to be aggressive and you're not full committing, which means your hold is going to be so much weaker. You understand that you have to get the force there, but you're not committing everything to get the force. It does look like the enemy team isn't really able to chase that well or get your combo at all, though, so it should be fine. Your spy should not be going in here. Your team is not supporting, you're backed out, there's nothing for their team to be doing besides looking for spy. So just be aware of that, be trying to have your spy actively work for something with your team. Let's see, you're already down 4 here, or you lose 4 in the process of peeking the shutter there, your team probably is in a good position to peek the shutter, and now you're just kind of getting walked into. Medic maybe, probably, yeah, dies. Yeah, you're just kind of sticking around shutter too long there. Bats can be pretty good for staging pushes because it's much harder for the enemy team to actively walk into you there. You just don't want to be sitting around here and not committing to something, basically, or else they're going to just have a ton of things jump and walk into you because all they do is look here and you are dead and you have nothing denying them from walking here. Your team really needs more consistent, bats and roof control, basically, yeah.
Yeah, so if we're walking back because of a disadvantage or because they have point, we should not be... we should be back bats, or we should be
I'd say yeah, back bats, because if you're in shutter, especially if they have your word, they're just going to walk into you and have everything trying to land here, yeah. Whereas if you're on bats, it means they have to walk at you from here, which is high ground disadvantage for them, or from under here, which is also high ground disadvantage, or they just contest you directly on the roof. Whereas if you're in shutter, you're allowing and you don't have people controlling anywhere else, all they do is all go for this, and then you lose players. Your demo man is taking a solo peek here. Your combo is not in sync. Their soldier bombs in. Again, your demo man is trying to do the right thing. Play from bats here. You don't have point. You're not actively pushing it. You need more. You need your combo playing bats or supporting your flank and sniper ramp. Basically, for either your heavy or pyro if they're not peeking bats. You are just getting nothing done by sitting around shutter because you are not actively taking a push, and it is much riskier than holding bats for reasons disclosed before. It's just a lack of a goal, people not being on the same page, and people trying to do different things. You see that on the fights, for mid-fight, you see that when you're trying to organize for a fight, or when you're just passively holding, and you see that on holds as well, even. Where you don't really have that much roof presence. Here it's most noticeable, though, because it's you're trying to push, but you were unable to get a push because you were just constantly losing players, either due to them solo peeking bats or due to enemies just peeking into you shutter. or like players solo aggressing on your end. And because of that, you are never able to actually coordinate a push there because you are always down things and you don't have the proper resources in place. In addition, your timings, like with your flank and spire a bit off, they need to be going in like at the precise moment where your combo is holding the team, like around the corner, or like drop down into them, or else you're just asking for them to get picked out. And you need players to be like backing off sooner and not recommit to fights or to commit further in.
From what it looks like is whenever we plan for a sack to be done because our medic drops or something, we just all basically hide where we can't be seen, and then we just hope our sacks could just go get their med. But it seems like what we should be doing is we should still be aggressing as normal, trying to take space and just relying on our bombs to allow us to push into them.
Basically,
and if they use, then we just get out.
Right, because that is the goal of the sack, to get them to either drop or use. If your medic is not up and you have like nothing to protect there, and the call is made to sack, anybody who is not helping in for that sack is kind of baiting there. Because it's like, the main goal is to get the force or the sack so you don't have an uber disadvantage, which means you can actually push point afterwards. But then, if you're trying to sack, and you're not, and like, your mech's already dead, there's nothing to protect, and you're not getting that sack off, your team, like, half your team is literally doing nothing there. They're just waiting for the game to be played, basically, yeah? Because you can't really push when you have that disadvantage there. It's just, like, you need people committing to something. Yeah.
And if you do have your med up, and you still want to sack in, try to get, like, Uber ad or something, if they have Uber ad, you want to try to get their med or something, a 7-man sack tends to be...
Yeah, 7 man's what you want to run there, and that means your medic is backing out of bats early, and that could be like your scout or your pyro or your engineer, one of those three usually.
Usually, and the way my team runs it, we run our engineer back to spawn with med.
Yes, that is good. That is good as long as you are doing it like early, where you're not getting caught out. If your team is finding that like you're having trouble keeping your medic alive there, it means you're not backing out early enough, and if you like aren't able to adjust that issue, then you either want it to be a scout, which like for the movement speed, or pyro to physically deny it. But that also means like you're down to potential players that could be jumping in there. Like I'm one of two players that could be potentially jumping in further there, yeah. And committing to it. So I would say engineer is fine, yeah. Just make sure you're not losing your medic further as well, or else you're in such a worse state than before. Any other questions, anything like that before I resume about like sacks or anything like that?
No, sounds good.
Yeah, I'll do like more detailed question taking whatnot later. I just wanted to cover that real quick. Let's see if you make any adjustments this mid fight. But yeah, honestly, like the main difference, yeah, their team probably adapted. Like they noticed your team was like being a little bit wonky with like your fight taking, your positioning, and they probably just started punishing you for it. And because you're not adapting, you just keep getting punished there probably.
Yeah.
But then, like, your team probably was punishing them early on. It's just like, yeah, they adapted. You don't, like... Look at their demo man's health on this mid-fight. They need to be dying for this. So
that's where Jet could have, our demo man should have, like, called damage. And our team obviously should be almost to point right now.
Okay, the funny thing is, there wasn't any damage to call. Their demo man literally just walked in with 50 HP.
Really?
Which and if you have a scout like fording their demo man there, now their demo man is dead, and you basically win the mid fight. But you're not. You don't have anybody in a good position to capitalize off of that. Realistically speaking, your demo man does not know their demo man is here though. But you should have your scout cav forwarding, like getting control and shooting their demo men anyways, and it is very realistic to expect your scout to kill their demo men there. Another thing like that can be done about this is having your pyro do like a very fast rollout, like detonating after they get a full buff or so, and then just laying a detonator on their entire team around shutter, which means their pyro is turning for like the slightest amount of time, their demo man is getting hit for afterburn and more damage, and this is all happening like at this very initial time frame, like right as their demo man is peaking their shutter there, basically.
And our soldier should be jumping onto their blue roof, or scout should as well. Scout,
your soldier jumps right in, gets a lot of damage done. Your soldier can also be jumping in their shutter there, though, if they're like lingering around shutter, or both your scout and soldier can be trying to go in behind them bats there. Those are basically the three mid-fight strats for your soldier. Just make sure you're doing one of them. I almost always found it to be more effective to just bomb the enemy's ramp, though. Not necessarily immediately, sometimes I would delay it. But it's just like that tends to end up feeling the most impactful by far, whereas if you try and get in behind a lot of the time, like the mid fighter's already won or lost by that point because your team like just doesn't have like the right resources in place otherwise. It's like there isn't as much support for them, and if you try and bomb Shutter, it's just like really easy to get denied unless they are specifically all called to be clustering Shutter. So yes, I would recommend doing this usually with your soldier, like, and they could be whipping out other players around that time. Just do a single rocket jump from the middle of lobby up to bats, and then they just jump in. Your scout shoots any players the soldier injures, and that's good. But your scout doesn't necessarily have to go on this roof, though. Like, it could be really effective to just be seeing this roof as well, specifically because it denies their soldier presence, like, and makes it much harder for their soldier to bomb. And you notice they aren't sending any engineer or anything bats there, which means if there is a soldier, your scout solo takes care of them. If not, if no soldier, no NG, then your scout walks in and kills people's Shutter anyways. Like, you just need your scout being much more forward to support you. Demo in there, your pyro could be like running detonator and just like helping assist and keep them delayed for the mid fight, and that really ruins their mid fight usually. That's about all I really want to say about the mid fight, though I've covered it in a lot more of detail at this point already. It's just like you have players that aren't really doing as much as they could be doing. It's usually a lot better as well to just be bombing like right across here into them or right across here, so even if you do get shot a bit, like, it doesn't matter the most. Again, your team is sort of sitting back ramp, you get bombed because the enemy soldier has to shoot at one of two places to kill basically 9 people on your team. Your soldier does get a jump in, it's delayed though, you don't have players in position. Your engineer almost wins the DM fight though.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Crazy, yeah. But it's like the bomb at that point isn't getting anything done because you have no players to support it. Again, it is really tempting and really good to be bombing an Ashville, but you never want to take unnecessary chances unless you personally know the enemy team like is out of position and you can guarantee a force or like so on and so forth if you have the DM for it. It's just like little unnecessary things or like inopportune timings that really add up over time. Again, your team is sort of doing the Shutter thing where they're not really peeking Shutter for a bit, and you're also not like really working around from bats. It does look like you're kind of remedying that at this point though, and you're kind of getting through at this point. Again, I just really wouldn't recommend clustering around Shutter unless you were actively having those combo members push it with you. Otherwise, it's just like you want them spamming bats, like from bats, like your demo is getting fantastic damage here, which means your sniper here is a lot more effective. Or here, your soldier tries to save your sniper. You don't have your engineer playing passively to help support the ramp though, or under the roof, so they're able to just sort of bust through. Like your soldier's only able to do so much there. Your flank just sort of split up and you get punished for it. It does look like you get a really good exchange though, which is good. You chase and medic dies. Yeah, good. Mike's called injured, they're a little bit slow, they have nobody immediately protect them. Always chase. Yeah, in that case.
Yeah, that was really good.
I'd say here your soldier is probably being a bit too forward. They get out, that's fine. You have players on roof now. I will say you have nobody on ramp to watch, like, no spy watching it, no spy, no soldier calling it if he's actively there. There's nothing contesting him around the Shutter. They should be getting punished for this more, like just slow peeking it if they don't have a sniper to support them there, because your sniper can just, like, look at this and boom, now their heavy is dead or their pyro. The only time, like, they shouldn't be dying for this when peeking ramp, like this Shutter, is if they have their sniper peeking as well. It's like your spy should be just in position living on these fights and calling that, hey, they have players peeking, like heavy pyro peeking Shutter or hey, sniper peeking Shutter, so on and so forth. You just need your players to know like how they can play basically. And that's why it's so important to have your spy in like a good position to call. They were doing that here for a bit. It does look like they try and go forward and go for something though. They get caught out as a result. You don't have intel calls. Their soldier bombs in. You don't have everybody on roof. You don't have a spy in position to call it. So you're going to lose medic there, yeah. You need players on roof or else you're going to get bombed and drop. Yeah. Let's see. Your heavy is just like a little bit alone when they're trying to hold forward there. It is good to see them trying to forward hold though. Yeah, like usually like your engineer should be like hard posted on the roof here with a wrangled mini. The wrangled mini means their sniper is getting shot at there. before I go on that tangent though, their sniper should not be peeking this. Your soldier should be holding their ramp, and or your spy should be, like, basically your spy should be calling this and coordinating with your soldier. Your soldier, like, can be playing forward here, can be playing here, and their sniper should just not be allowed to be nearly solo peeking this. What it means your team is kind of just dying at this point. Your sniper's not in a position to deny it. But if your sniper is, like, your sniper should basically be over here with your combo probably, or like on the point itself if your combo is holding forward. It's just like you're a little out of position there, you're not getting that much great control, and their sniper is just uncontested on ramp now. And if your sniper tries to rotate back to deal with them, they're getting killed. You just don't have anybody in position besides maybe your spy to deal with their sniper there. You don't have your engineer and mini on roof, so they can't be shot at from above there. Players on roof should usually be engineer almost the entire time when you're holding ramp. Scout can be there occasionally, just peek, walk onto bats, be shooting players on fans like their sniper demo man. Your soldier can be shooting. They shouldn't really be roof that like full time there that often. Your pirate can be roof as long as you have spy awareness in the back line and you know they're going to be bombing or spamming it. So let's see what happens here. Your spy tries to go for their sniper. It's from this angle though, they just get caught out. Yeah. And now you have nobody really dealing with your sniper. Their sniper's not really doing it that much though, but you... Yeah, I don't know. Their sniper actually didn't really hit anything there, but... Yeah, it's just principle. It does look like your medic gets out there. Like, what allowed your medic to get out is that your pyro play forward to deny. It is a fantastic thing to have your pyro play forward, like, hold corners and just sack to make sure your medic lives. It's much more important than the pyro's life there, so that's good on your pyro, just denying that, yeah. I will say, like, yeah, with pyro, like, since you asked me to do pyro, like, some pyro stuff, I'll just touch on that real quick. If your team is, like, being awkward with their commitment to fights, it is a lot more stressful on your pyro, and it's not necessarily like that much of your pyro's own fault. There just isn't that much they can necessarily do when your team isn't really like taking the right fights or isn't committing to pushes. I'll touch on that more in the personal review though. Your soldier's bombing in to create space for a combo, gets denied, goes in for a re-bomb now, their demo man's roof, your soldier kills them. This is a coordinated play here, that's good. Unfortunately, their demo man was kind of trolling, so your soldier can't get past to get the force. But it is a very good fight in principle, like, it's good coordination there. You're able to get a lot of space, and now their team is using onto point. And you are able to, I assume, back your players out. You do get medic out, so that's fine, you have an advantage. Again, you do have the point, and you have more point time, so this does probably work out to your favor. Yeah. No, it's fine, that's fine. Will say though, like, you probably should have other things, like shooting their demo man on the roof. Like, if their demo man wasn't allowed to be alive on the roof there, like, randomly, then you probably would have been able to successfully get your soldier past and get the force off, which means you wouldn't have even had to worry about like losing point or more players for it. But again, you have the point time, you have like advantages existing, so it's like it's not the hugest deal on its own. Again, your team is just doing this thing where they're not sure what they're doing around this little shutter stairs area, which means if the enemy team pressures from your shutter, especially if they're playing forward and they have players pressure from bats, you're losing everybody there. They're not doing that, so you're not getting punished for it. But even though you're not getting punished for it, it means most of your plays are actively doing anything there, yeah? Alright, your pyro plays forward to nice some space. That's okay, I guess. Yeah, it's like usually they'd just get flashed in there, though it is a little bit risky for them to be peeking when they're that low, but I mean, it's cool to see your pyro try to commit to that. Like, even though they are like super low and they're not getting flashed, like, even if they did die there, they're able to just keep the enemy team back for longer, and that's a very important thing with pyro, just getting space. Like, physically denying because no other classes really can. So, that's fine there. Your pyro buys time, you're able to get spawners now. Again, you have players forward, like, but then your team isn't really in position to support them. Your flank is super aggressive there. They don't really end up getting punished for it. In fact, they might end up winning this for you as a result. No. You just have 2 people like kind of just sitting back on ramp, and the enemy team is just allowed to like bomb and jump into you because you don't have a flank ramp like on the roof to shoot them. Even though your flank is behind, it's just you don't have the players in place to win that fight there. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's just, yeah, you need more direction. Like, if your flank is in behind him, bats there, honestly, probably just get super forward here, have your flank clamp their players here, and then there's nothing stopping your flank from just bombing, walk at them, like here, locking them out of shutter, or, like, on ramp, yeah. Your demo gets their medic, your team should be protecting your medic, watching for a bomb here. Your team is a bit more forward there, your pyre is able to deny the bomb, their scout walks past your team and kills their medic. Roof. It is good.
Yeah.
But good they got their medic there. It's just, again, like, even though you are able to kind of deny their soldier, you all kind of back out to the same spot for it, and you lose your medic there for a result, which is a pretty big setback. It's good to see that you didn't all back out ramp again, though. Yes. Let's see. Your spy kills their soldier, they're cool, now they're down soldier, they're probably not seeing sniper ramp. Your soldier's playing super forward around here. If your combo is playing forward, this means your soldier can get like a full buff, whip your heavy, and just peek their shutter, and that's like usually how you punish teams for playing around shutter that hard. Like that's usually what the enemy team would be doing there. Neither team is playing very forward or aggressively though, and it's like Ashville like is so fantastic for forward holding, like unless you're specifically down people are on like a disadvantage, I would usually recommend defaulting to like a more aggressive hold, because it's like it locks out their sniper from playing ramp anyways, it makes it much harder for them to peek shutter, and that means the only real area that is threatening is bats unless they send a ton of things to busting ramp and your team isn't properly controlling their ramp. It just buys you so much time and it really forces the enemy team to divide their attention, whereas if you are kind of sitting back on your ramp, all they have to do is focus their attention onto one exact spot, your ramp. And then any players who are more forward are getting picked off. Yeah?
Yep.
But I don't know, that's not the worst thing itself, though. It's just, like, your team is getting punished for it, and you're not really adapting. Like, you're not really able to adapt to it, yeah, and that's kind of one of the reasons why forward hold is better, but don't get me wrong, like, it's not the worst thing that you aren't doing forward holds, basically. It's just, I usually would recommend it. Shit. Let's see. Your spy dies. Team's not in position to support it, out of sync there, yeah. Probably died. Scout on ramp soldier, yeah, whatever, it's fine. Spy gets in. You do have a player vaguely watching their ramp, so that's good. They're not really able to peek it out as a result. You don't have to worry about sniper. You should get good point time here. You have nothing contesting their sniper shutter calling it though. In that case, if your spy is dead, you need to be playing more backwards here so you won't just get peeked and die to sniper, or you need somebody playing forward like soldier here, so actively peeking the shutter and physically denying them from being able to peek it there. So on and so forth. Yeah. Do take an exchange out, they are kind of backing out ramp. They're a bit out of position here, but you don't really have enough resources to chase into the ramp, like, because half your combo is still sitting back here, which means even though your pirate's doing God's work, like forcing them out of ramp, you don't have like the rest of your combo, like your demo heavy walking forward to support them here. Your team just kind of half committed to that fight there, even like it was, I would say it was kind of winnable.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you don't really fully commit to anything, so you lose everything. Yeah. And that's kind of the general idea, like the underlying principle I want to like try and reinforce here, yeah. You just need to be fully committing to things, or else nothing you do is going to be that good. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's like, you're going for a sec here, you can't be fully committing to different things, it's just like, those things need to be kind of like supporting each other. If you just have people doing random things, not really going for like any grander goal or objective, then it's not going to work out anyways. Like, you can have people fully committing to things from different angles, all supporting the same goal, basically, yeah. That you don't have to all be in the same spot for that, either. Let's see, soldier demo bomb died, they do get sniper, your combo gets space on point as a result. You don't have anybody watching their bats, or holding roof, you don't end up losing medic for it. You probably do get forced back? Your spy gets a good pick, okay. Yeah, I mean, team just sort of played sloppy there. Yeah. spies giving intel calls. No sniper ramps, that's fine. They take an exchange. It's for shutter. Gets a bit slowed, that's good. Yeah, they're not really actively peeking you that much, so you're able to just get a little bit back, re-peek this. Your soldier should be playing on your roof here if it's called that you're going in for bats here, if it's called you're going in for exchange. Jump in, medic dies for this. They end up dying anyways. But you want your soldier kind of playing opposite of your combo there to support them, instead of like stacking with them, unless you're specifically trying to hold roof because they're dropping down from bats. I do think you have time there for your soldier to rotate over bats, like after their Uber, it takes a while for them to get the force off of you, so at the point where you're using Uber, you should have your soldier in position here, like the call should be made, yeah. Here your scouts all alone on roof, so they end up getting pressured off dying to demo spam. There's nothing denying the demo spam, because you have nothing contesting them here, they're able to get point for free. The enemy team does not. Spy checks, your spy is able to get a lot done here. Wow. Again, yeah, you're just losing point for no good, like, for no real good reason. They're kind of just walking because you don't have players roof, and or you're not forward holding them. Like, it's a combination of the two, yeah. But more so that you don't have players roof, I just want to be clear on that.
Yeah, for sure.
But they do end up losing a lot of players because your spy is capitalizing off of them not spy checking that much, so that's probably winning you the fight. Again, nothing roof, their demo and jumps us, you're all taking the same damage. He doesn't really hit anything though, so he dies, that's good. They're peeking shutter, probably more people dive around the soldier and NG walk in, that's good, yeah. There it's just their team playing incredibly sloppily, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were originally at a 2-0, so I definitely think it was winnable as long as we could have learned or adapt to having more of our soldier or scouts on roof to be able to help us in mid fights, and team fights. I think that was an easy win if we would have adapted.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think it comes down to just like commitment to fights, the angles you're taking the fights from, and then your map control. Yeah, I think those are the main three things we're seeing here. See, player is back in your shutter. Yeah, kind of same thing there, though bit weirder. Medic doesn't die for that though, because you don't really have medic in for the first place, so that's okay, I guess. But usually you just want to be contesting more of the mid fight. Yeah. Mid-fight usually sets the stage for the rest of the round. You do get sackers in here, you call you're going for a sack so you can get a force off, you get the force off. You should be backing your players out at this point. Yep, your snipers should not be peeking this any longer, they are alone here. The enemy team doesn't have anybody bombing though, so your sniper lives. So that's the thing, I guess. Now you're getting through shutter. Their engineer is not getting shot on roof, they're able to get like 300 DPM with this many here. Doesn't end up mattering that much though. Pyre calls spawn your medic.
Yeah, I Ubered on him calling spy there.
I think you gotta trust your pyre there. Just have your pyre right click, because you don't really have players in position to turn around, or you aren't turning around for him.
Yeah,
just have your pyre right click.
There was a spy behind me, and there was also a sniper looking at me from ramp.
Sniper from...
So I just Ubered.
Yeah, it's fine there, honestly. If you're not dying to sniper, you're probably dying to spy. Even if you do deny spy, you probably die for sniper there. Yeah, you just need somebody, like, pressuring their ramp. Or, like, your sniper counter-peeking it. Didn't really catch that. That's good. Noticing things for yourself, so that's pretty good, yeah. Your soldiers contest them from roof here, they lose their sniper. You back out at this point, because you're not really, like, because they're using into, yep. You get picks, you should be able to probably refight this while they're down to sniper heavy. Yep, you peek from shutter. Alright. Should be getting point here. You're kind of baiting your demo man. He is like so forward compared to the rest of your team. That is not really on your demo man. He is getting a lot of space. He's not getting that contested for this space. I will say that's more on the rest of your team there. Like your demo man seems to have a fairly good sense of timing, or at least like is making the calls, and it's more on your team to be like listening and receptive to it. If the demo man isn't really getting punished at all for it. Soldier gets in, you have your pyre playing here, so it gets denied. You should not be walking back in here, guys.
Yeah, you're right. I actually don't know what this plan was. Oh, we were planning to kill the medic.
With the pyro and a
Okay,
medic.
so there was a weird play. We were told that like the medic was like really low. And the call was to do it a lot earlier, like maybe 10, 12 seconds earlier.
Yeah, the game
because
state is
it didn't
totally
happen.
different at that point. There is no point in committing to it at that late.
Yeah.
You had the opportunity to get back out. Huge
Yeah, that was
misplay.
definitely a throw there.
Huge misplay, yeah. It happens, though. Like, I'm not gonna rag about it. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's more important
It
things.
is match point too, so it's like watch that.
Yeah, like
Right now.
tensions are high. No, yeah, it's fair. You get pull in behind. You're walking in. They don't have their flank really on you that much besides engineer.
Nobody's on point.
Yeah, your team is like so passive here. You do have your Uber Dissa though, so that's not necessarily like the worst idea. You don't really all want to be dying for this. I will say though, you could be having your pyro play forward, like trying to get points, sacking your pyro to deny this, and then backing out after they use, and then you could probably get point and gum to use there if they're not playing that well. But I think honestly it was better to have your players mostly forward back here. Like it's like you just need some people pressuring like points so that they have a reason to come and use into you while they're down so much. Or back out entirely, but then you don't want to be too forward with most of your players because then they're all dying. Honestly, like that is not the issue there. Like that is fine. Yeah. It's just there should have been something to make them force earlier so that you didn't have to have players on point. They can potentially lose them, is all I mean to say. But like because that wasn't met, that was honestly fine. Seems weird, but there was an objective to be had there. So that's good. Here your team is kind of being your heaviest super forward here. There's nothing to shoot them. You can really keep this aggression pressure here. Let's see, like you have even Ubers, yeah. Your team is trying to contest them on point, like they're trying to like play forward again, but like it's in reaction, so you're losing players for it. Like Demoman is super important here now because you don't have Demoman, they're able to kind of refight this. Yeah. Again, it's just like your team was sort of half committing to multiple things there, so nothing ends up working out that well. Made a mistake there, just losing your demo run for that, honestly. Like having be kind of forward without the proper forward positioning, yeah. Like you had Uber, you could have counter used like around here, so instead it's on the point, you're losing players and you have to flash more, and as a result, your team is kind of thinking, okay, we have to retake this point, we have to fight it. That's fine. You don't have a demo man though, so probably should have been from crates, like bats, and have people jump over roof, just the way you can do, because you don't have demo man, you're just getting locked out of this shutter, and that is that. Okay, questions, anything like that?
Not yet. I feel like I did before and I forgot what it was.
Alright. Anybody else?
No, aside from the
I'm
stuff
good.
we're gonna do after.
Alright. Yeah, I think I probably covered like the majority of the things that could be covered here.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
if I
should
had a
be good.
question, it would have been like a completely situational, like specific question.
Alright.
So
Yeah, maybe you could speak to like a medic player about that or something, like, or whatever class. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I think we definitely got a lot more information than we could find out ourselves throughout playing it.
Yeah, it's really hard, like, in the moment, especially when it's, like, a super tense match just closing towards the end of it. It can be very, very hard, like, to just...
Yeah, like we
Take a step back.
steamrolled these guys like the first game.
Right,
like,
so it's like...
and then like they just came back and smacked us in
So,
the face. So
something I'm gonna say here, like, you need to be making more use out of your halftime and or take a tactical pause with your pause there, like, to make sure that doesn't happen. Like, to make sure you have time to talk and adjust and adapt, because you are not doing that in-game. Make use out of your halftime, and make use out of, like, your pause if you really need to make that adjustment in the moment. I would honestly say, like, probably, like, after the first, like, the half you lost, or, like, a pause, if you notice a
we do
huge
not
difference.
ever pause unless it's for somebody disconnecting. I think we should actually
Yeah.
use it if we're if we lose several rounds in a row.
We get flustered
Yeah.
and shit.
Like,
Yeah.
well, if you lose several rounds in a row with like a 2-round config, then like just do it in the halftime. But like if you're
Yeah.
noticing huge difference and it's really like affecting your team going into the rest of the match, like you need to take a step back and nip it in the head, or else it's gonna keep like affecting your mental state here. Like if you try to pause at this point, it's probably too late already.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like there's been so much time for like mental decay to happen. Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to include in the while I do the recording, or no?
I'm good.
Nah, I think I'm good.
Alright,